Polling day was just crazy. We had over 500 people in North Herefordshire campaigning, so managing that many people over, North Herefordshire, which is 40 miles by 40 miles, is quite a massive achievement.
The overall size of the party's campaign was just like nothing we've ever seen before. Everything was more professional. We had more candidates than ever before. We did a survey afterwards that they report that they felt more equipped than ever before.
The independent poll that the Green Party commissioned, that actually they were speaking to people in North Herefordshire. So they showed us coming second, some of them showed us coming first.
We had 4 people who were ready to step up. And so when they were already on the media and when people were meeting them, they were already behaving like MPs.
North Herefordshire was covered in 1,000 poster boards, 1,000 window posters. Everyone was talking about it, that real, everyone seeing that, oh my God, my neighbours are voting Green. Oh, okay, it's not a crazy thing after all.
The response we got from the media was larger and more enthusiastic than we've ever seen before. Not just about our target candidates, but across the board.
I never take elections for granted, and throughout the campaign I was unsure which way it was going to go, but by the night before the election and election day it was very clear that there was a really positive, buoyant atmosphere. People were voting Green positively, and it did feel like it was an election we were going to win.
We thought it was very close. I think in the last few days people made up their minds, and anecdotally people have told me that they made up their minds in the polling station.
At 10 o'clock on Thursday the 4th of July, the exit polls are still predicting just 2 seats for the Greens. There is nothing more anyone can do now to affect the outcome, and nothing for campaigners except a long night of waiting.
When the exit poll came out, it looked like we had just won 2 MPs. And I just had this moment of not knowing who that might be, but just sadness that 2 of our amazing candidates hadn't got over the line.
When the exit poll came out saying 2, I felt initially just frustrated and was just telling everybody, ignore it.
I think some of the predictions were even that the Greens were going to have 0 MPs.
Our doorstep feedback was so good on the day. It made everyone feel really, really hopeful. And so, yeah, waiting for the final result was full of anticipation.
At the various campaign headquarters, candidates and campaign teams watch the television anxiously.
And it just so happened that I ended up tallying on the desks for a selection of wards that were amongst our weakest. So I was left after the first hour thinking that it was going to be really close.
I was still very, very nervous, because no matter how well you think things are going, there are things you might not know that are going on in the background. And we know that the other parties have bigger resources than us. Maybe there was an enormous online get out the vote operation for Labour we just didn't know about.
After all the work of the previous year, all the thought and planning, all the months of leafleting, door knocking, talking and listening to the people in their constituencies, will the night bring joy or bitter disappointment? Would the electorate punish them for the controversial messages of a few ex-candidates? Or will the positive experiences of people within the party be enough to satisfy critics? At campaign headquarters, Carla's team killed time until the results come in, knowing Adrian, Shan and Nellie would be doing the same. Have they done enough? Spoken to enough voters? Delivered enough information? Does the Green message appeal to the wider electorate as much as it does to their supporters? In the next few hours, they will find out. Finally, the moment of truth.
On election night, we had been up for, more than 24 hours. We were just knackered, so I did feel a bit like I was in a kind of zombie state.
I'd had very little sleep and was really tired. So there's the emotion of the tiredness and at the end of a very long campaign.
So by 1 a.m, I knew that we'd won, and it was just amazing. And we had to, all of us, just keep to a complete poker face. The BBC correspondent was saying, Helen, come on, you can tell me. And I was saying, I really can't. I've signed something saying I can't.
When I came into the count centre in Brighton and Hove. It was lovely. There were so many people there, all the councillors, and the first thing I wanted to do though, apart from hugging Caroline and a few others, was go and see the piles of votes.
I was able to make that phone call to Ellie saying, I'm feeling really happy, as the sort of code.
Well, I turned up to the count late at night, a little bit after it had started, and I could tell from the faces of my campaign manager and members of my team and my volunteers that we'd won when I got in the building.
As soon as I walked through the door, I said to Chris Williams, our head of elections, do we know who the one is? And he said, 1. And I said, yeah. And he said, 4. And I was like, no. And he was like, 4.
And when that first result came, I could just feel that the size of the majority, the huge swing, just said to me, we can do it. We can do it in all 4 seats. So yeah, it was just euphoric.
I went into the room and saw the piles of votes, and it was really, absolutely, it was just fantastic. But then also, we started to hear that the results were coming out soon for the other places. And the one I remember is Ellie, is hearing that Ellie had won.
In North Herefordshire, Ellie Chowns overturned Conservative domination of rural seats, gaining 43% of the vote. Similarly, in Waveney Valley, Adrian Ramsey won with a large majority. Sian Berry held on to Brighton Pavilion with an impressive 14,000 majority. And in Bristol Central, Carla Denyer won, and won big, with over 10,000 votes more than Labour.
One of the wonderful things was we kept getting news from the other constituencies. So we heard that Ellie had been elected, and then that Sian had been elected, and then we grew more and more confident that we would get Adrian in as well.
Winning a Green seat in rural, traditionally Conservative heartlands was a political earthquake, frankly. So I really did feel the moment.
Waveney Valley, today you have made history. You've shown that the Green Party appeals just as much in rural areas, in our market towns and villages, as it does in the cities. And you've sent a clear message to Westminster by electing the first Green MP in East Anglia.
This is an absolutely historic night. I mean, you know, what you have done here, what we have done here, this team and the broader team, absolutely extraordinary. And it is all your hard work, whether you've been delivering leaflets, whether you've been knocking on endless doors, whether you've been working late into the night, entering data, whether you've been taking photos, doing social media. It's just baking cake. I mean, I cannot, you know, begin to all of the things that are needed to make a campaign like this successful. Answering emails. I hope you feel so proud of yourselves. And you know, give yourselves a round of applause.
How many people here for the first time actually you had a vote that did something?
This is not only the start of a new green chapter for Waveney Valley, but also for Britain. And so I say to everyone who voted for me, everyone who supported my campaign in any way, thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Absolutely 10 out of 10, delighted with the result, with how everybody came together, with the phenomenal campaign that my team ran in the constituency, staff and volunteers, the national campaign, which was on a completely different level to where we've been in before. Scale and professionalism was absolutely superb.
I think just everything went our way. I guess that's it really, that's my takeaway. Everything that we aimed to do, we achieved.
The point at which I rationally knew and the point at which it really hit home were a bit different. Me and my team were kind of hiding around the corner in a quiet space in the building. It's funny, at counts, the candidates don't get an office or anything, so we just had to sort of hide in a quiet corner round the back of the stairwell to get ourselves ready. And I was running my lines for my thank you speech, And it was halfway through that, when there was a line about thanking everyone for what we'd achieved together, that it really hit home and I choked up a little bit. And I think my comms officer that I was preparing it with was feeling the same.
What's more, Greens came second in all these constituencies, indicating that with sufficient effort, dozens of places could be Green targets at the next election. As the winners get used to Parliament and the responsibilities of being an MP start to sink in, how do the 4 for 24 feel about the task ahead?
We now have this incredible job ahead of us. We've, between us, got to cover a lot of work. We've got the enormous climate crisis, and that includes now actually working to reduce the impact on people's lives of the climate change that we're already seeing. This is, humanitarian work. We've also got huge amounts to do on social justice. Labour are not promising to spend money, really sorting out the impacts of austerity.
I'm in a constituency where so many people have said that they never met their MP, no one had knocked on their door before, they didn't know how to contact them if they wanted to meet them. So holding surgeries from the beginning, meeting community groups, showing that I'm active and visible has been really important. And obviously alongside that, taking the opportunities in Westminster to be part of as many debates as we've been able to early on to get that Green voice heard in the room as well.
I just saw Carla from a distance as we walked to hug each other. I'm feeling it again now. Just felt this absolute immense sense of pride that this brilliant person who, I know will work with so much integrity and is exactly what our Parliament needs, will do that every single day. And I'm just so proud of a membership that got people like Carla into Parliament.
Well, I feel a huge responsibility on my shoulders, rightly so, I think. An enormous number of people, Green Party members and supporters, put a lot of time and effort into getting this record-breaking result, quadrupling our representation now with 4 Green MPs in Parliament. So we're taking on the baton from the fabulous Caroline Lucas, hoping that with that greater representation we can achieve even more than she did. But we're realistic about the fact that we are just 4 of 650 MPs. So we don't have very much hard power to deliver change, but hopefully we can find lots of opportunities to use our soft power to persuade, to push the Labour government, to acknowledge where they're heading in the right direction on some policies, but not be shy about pushing them to be bolder on areas where we think they could go further.
So I'm here on Ledbury Station, about to take the train up to Westminster for my first day at work in the Houses of Parliament. And I would just like to say the most enormous thank you to every single person in North Herefordshire who voted for me. I have said I will work my socks off for you, and I really, really will. I can't wait to get started. I'm going to be up in Westminster probably Monday to Thursday most weeks, and then Fridays and Saturdays I'll be out and about in the constituency, just as I have been in the campaign, listening to you, meeting you, hearing what your concerns are, and then taking them to Westminster. So thank you for putting your trust in me. I will do everything I can to repay that trust. I'm so grateful, and I cannot wait to get started. Thank you.
As the successful candidates return to Parliament, now MPs, some might see this as the end of a long story. For the Greens, though, it is just the opening chapter.